Chapter 19. Spending Quality Time with Harry. I kissed Harry happily as I felt him kissing me back while smiling in between. I stated, I know we're both young and confused about this, but I know it's fine, Miranda, as long as I don't lose the friendship I have with you in the end. You won't, Harry, I promise. I guess sometimes it's better to try things and admit feelings, to go for it. Besides the convincing advice you guys gave me with Snape in the first place. That was different. Whether it's him or you or some other boy, feelings that develop don't change much. I just become conflicted and afraid. If you don't want to try this, I understand. No, I want to try at least. If things don't work out, we can talk about it then. He started to smile as I smiled back in reassurance. Of course, I'm just glad I have you by my side, no matter what. Neither of us knows where this will lead, but at least at this point, I don't mind trying. Not that I'm jumping from guy to guy, but with how I used to feel about my best friend, I think this was bound to happen sooner or later. Sensing that I was overthinking, I felt him grab my waist by having his hands along my hips. He gave me a kind smile that made me smile as I put my arms around his neck for a moment. Don't overthink this, Miranda. Like Hermione, you're my friend. I'll do anything to look out for you. Maybe this sort of thing will help us sort out our feelings. Agreed. A minute of silence later, we both let go and just stared at each other. I could tell no matter what that he was somewhat nervous and even uneasy, as he had been since the start of the tournament. I leaned in and placed a soft kiss on his forehead, a sign of positive affection. I stated, I feel better now. Thank you, Harry. And why is that? He asked while quickly winking at me in response. I laughed. Because I'm with you, and you made me smile like you always seem to, somehow. He glanced at me and pecked my lips. I'm glad. I'd do anything for you. You should cheer up and be happy, not be so upset. I raised my eyebrows as if to say, look who's talking from everything that's been going on so far this year. Not to mention, as I said before, I missed the first test since I was stuck in the hospital wing. I never mentioned the conversation in general, but I was filled in on what happened in between all that. I was glad that Hermione approached Harry, but I know Harry's anxious about all of this. Something weird about all of this, and something is slowly building, but what it is, I don't know. Despite all of this, I'm just glad to have people I can count on. Pulling out of my thoughts, I smiled at him. I appreciate everything you try to do, Harry. You know, Dumbledore did tell me that if I choose to stay in bed for needing rest, he said he would tell other teachers that I have a slight case of the flu. If they asked him, that is. I wasn't expecting that, but I'm glad as you need it. I'm glad too, Harry. If anything, he's been really understanding when it comes to the obvious situation. That and my stepdad slowly dying. We finally let go of each other's hold but sat side by side on the couch by the fire. Are you going to be all right? I don't like seeing you upset. I mean, it'll take time because of everything, Harry, but I'll try my best not to be upset. Please don't be, Miranda. If you are, then I'll be too. I'll stay with you if I have to. I know you would, and I promise I'll try. He smiled at me softly as I wanted to ask him something that I was wondering. What is it, Miranda? I'm sorry, Harry, it's just... I can't help but wonder what you'll do about the tournament. I mean, some people are so skeptical as it is about you getting in. At this point, according to Dumbledore, I don't have a choice but to compete. But other than that, I don't know, Miranda. I mean, I didn't ask for any of this. I didn't put my name in that cup, and I don't know who did. Harry, stop. I reached over and grabbed his hand as he stopped talking to look sternly at me. I looked at him as he held onto my hand. Harry, don't worry. You already know that I believe you. I know you didn't put your name in the cup or ask for any of this, but you can't change it now. All you can do is go along with it and maybe try to figure out who really did put your name in the cup, including being safe with the rest of the tournament. Yeah, I agree. Someone else is involved, but I honestly don't know who. I'm scared for you, Harry. I know you are. I think Hermione is too, but don't worry about me too much, okay? He stated as he tightened the grip around my hand for reassurance. I'll also try not to worry. I care too much about you in any case. You know I'll end up worrying about you anyway. I know you will. We'll get through this. I hope we will. What about that egg? Have you figured it out yet? He shook his head. No, and I have no idea what to do about it. We'll figure it out before the time comes for the second task. I watched him let go of my hand as he got up and faced me. I looked up at him as he said, Miranda, why don't you try to come with me to lunch? I didn't realize how much time had gone by. He looked down, waiting for me to get up. No, I can't eat anything, Harry. I don't even feel that hungry if I'm being bloody honest. But you have to eat something, Miranda, if you won't try and get some sleep. I refuse to let you starve today. Harry, I can't bear to see Snape at the teacher's table after what he did and said. After all, I could end up losing my stepfather, too. Just ignore him like you used to. I'll even make sure of that. Please, Miranda, come on, you have to eat. Knowing that he wasn't going to let me take no for an answer, I caved in. Thinking about it, I can't think of the last time I ate. I guess it's been a while. I gave up and responded, Okay, Harry, I will. He gave me a kind smile as I grabbed his hand and he helped me up. I smiled back as we held hands and walked out of the room. On the way to the Great Hall, I was a little nervous and Harry could tell by the way that I was acting. He squeezed my hand lightly to ease my nerves and looked at me while we were walking. Like I said, he knows me enough to know how I act and such without having to say a word. I smiled. I'll be all right. No worries. I know you and the others got my back. He nodded at me and smiled back in response. When we walked into the Great Hall, it was quiet and some students were looking at us. I guess it was a shock to some to see Harry and me holding hands. I mean, it's not like we're deeply in love and in a serious relationship. It's like we know we have these feelings beyond friendship and seeing how trying to be together goes. I could tell that Harry was a little uneasy about the situation as well, yet he seemed to hold his guard and not let go of my hand. Hermione, Ron, Neville, and the twins noticed us entering and they smiled, seeing us together. I quickly looked toward the teacher's table and I noticed that Professor Dumbledore gave me a quick, kind smile. Professor McGonagall had a blank, surprised stare at first, but she then warmed up and gave a small, kind smile my way. Then I painfully and slowly looked at Snape, who seemed to be looking at me. I held in a deep breath, feeling the nervousness and uneasiness trying to take over me. I noticed that he had a jealous, mad, evil, and cruel look in his eyes. Wait a bloody second. Jealousy? Why is he jealous and why would he be now? I knew Snape really liked me, or seemed to, but it's kind of like he almost hates me now, or despises me some. I guess the other emotions I saw in his eyes were still from our little fight, or whatever it was. I glanced at him once more as I detected faith and hope deep within his eyes. I took a deep breath, holding the stare inside. This is going to be difficult. As fast as he looked at me, he soon turned away as I walked over to sit down with Harry and my friends. I fixed myself a small plate of food that was now in front of me, but I could barely even touch it. Harry lightly touched my hand, noticing that I wasn't eating. He looked at me with genuine concern. Please eat, Miranda. I won't let you starve. At least a little. I sighed quietly as Fred said, Miranda, you should be happy. What's wrong? I looked at Hermione a little puzzled and she nodded her head. I guess that was her silent way of letting me know she told them everything. It's just hard to be in the same room with Snape right now considering everything at the moment. That's all, Fred. But I'll be fine, I responded, finally taking a bite of my food. Neville asked, So, what? Are you and Harry dating now or something, Miranda? Harry and I looked at each other as I wasn't sure what to tell him. I mean, I know we just talked about it, but I wasn't sure if he wanted to try and date or not. So Harry told Neville, or something. I guess, in a way, yes, we are, Neville. We don't know how far it will take us, but no matter what happens, we'll always be best friends. Harry looked at me and kindly smiled, and I couldn't help but smile back. Fred and George laughed and smiled. We all made small talk as we ate. After lunch. The rest of the lunch seemed okay as everyone cheered me up, and I finally ate a decent meal. Harry and I left the Great Hall with Hermione, Ron, Neville, and the twins as we walked into the hallway. They made me happy for the first time in a while compared to the time I would have spent sad, depressed, and crying in bed by now. I decided to skip my classes for the day, even though I shouldn't, but Professor Dumbledore didn't pressure me this morning into going. So I'm taking advantage of it. Then I headed to my room area in the girls' dormitory with Harry by my side. I tried to tell him to go to class and that I'd be okay, but he resisted. After reassuring him, I went out to get some rest and he said he would come by and get me a little later. I got to my section and laid down, not thinking about anything, and eventually found myself finally falling asleep. A while later, I woke up to hearing Harry's voice as I opened my eyes to find him sitting on the edge of my bed. I smiled as I sat up and yawned. I'm glad you got some rest, Miranda. What are you doing here, Harry? I did say I would come by to check on you. I sighed but also smiled at the same time, knowing how kind he was being to me because he cared. I knew what I was about to do, especially with Harry in this area, would get both of us in trouble. I know you came in to check on me, but I don't really want to get out of bed at the moment. Then I'll lie by you if that's all right. I smiled as I made room for him and he lay down beside me. I was unsure about this, but he hasn't said anything against it, so I'm guessing he's letting this occur. I didn't think he would be okay with any of this, apparently. I was wrong. We didn't say anything but just lay there together. I'm only going to say that doing this with Harry is stirring up mixed emotions and feelings, some of which are in the sexual department. Trying to say that lying right next to your best friend and having sudden sexual feelings is, complex. He looked over at me and held my hand as we stared into each other's eyes. This time felt a little different. He looked at me with a smile, but also appeared extremely nervous. Okay, this doesn't seem like how Harry has been lately, but I'll see what exactly is going through his mind. I giggled and asked him, What is it, Harry? I don't know exactly how to explain it, but we're completely alone right now. I knew what he meant by that, but I had to make sure that I was right. Does this mean he suddenly feels the same way I do? Why, Harry Potter, are you trying to say what I'm thinking you're trying to say? His whole demeanor changed as he nervously nodded his head at me. I asked, Are you sure you want this, Harry? I mean, besides the obvious things, I'm not sure if I'm ready, Harry. At the same time, I think this whole moment has stirred up some feelings. I looked at him as he glanced at me in a certain way, but also nodded his head, silently admitting he felt these feelings strongly, but didn't know how to explain them. I mean, how can I say no to him? From how shaggy his hair has looked, to being on edge this year, but still being the same Harry I know, and how his eyes got me so hypnotized and lost within them, looking into them. He looked into my eyes. I know it's too soon, and we're young, but I trust you completely. I'm comfortable with it, and I want to give you this at least. No one has to know but us. I don't know what it is, but it feels right, Miranda. I don't know how else to explain it. Maybe he's getting caught up in the moment like I am? This doesn't seem like him compared to how I'm used to seeing him. I would never imagine he would suddenly feel sexual feelings too. My eyes watched him closely as he got closer and closer to me, so our bodies got against each other. I had my legs wrapped around his lower waist and I felt something against my upper thigh. You absolutely sure about this, Harry? As long as you trust me too with doing this. If not, I'll stop and not ask again. I looked at him and I could tell that he was desperate, anxious, and conflicted, but somehow wanted this too. Maybe he secretly feels the same way. I gulped a shine as the nervousness started to take over and shake me to the core. How am I nervous around Harry, my new boyfriend? Well, he is also my best friend, don't forget. So this was a new situation in my eyes, yet I was also happy at the same time. We're just together. Do you trust me, Miranda? I do trust you, Harry. I always have. I felt myself starting to get excited again as I could tell he was again too. It was hard to deny the passion somehow growing between us all of a sudden, and at the same time, scared of ruining the friendship. I didn't think we would go this far, but I decided to follow my heart for the moment. My heart told me to go for it anyway and take the risk. I asked, One final time, Harry, are you sure you're up for this? I'm positive as I can be, Miranda, he responded while smiling kindly. So Harry and I both did it and caved in. We went for it all the way. At first, I was highly strung with content, but then I got blissful with the whole experience. We know it was too soon because of our age, and we're still so young in the end. I know it doesn't compare or give me the right to judge because of me doing it with Snape. In the end, Harry and I trusted each other deeply, and it somehow felt right at the current moment. It's honestly hard to explain. It's one of those things you don't think about that will happen, but when you feel a certain way about someone at the moment, it can't be helped. I knew I somehow secretly felt this way about my best friend, and I feel guilty, but knowing he wants the same thing makes me feel better. I hope we won't regret doing this in the future. We both agreed, and no matter how we work things out between us, that we'll remain best friends in the end. I hope I don't get judged too much for this. At this moment in time, doing this with Harry just felt perfectly okay. Harry stayed with me for a bit after leaving for dinner, as I wasn't hungry at all. By the time Harry came back with Hermione to check on me, I was still alone. She later left, while Harry stayed. I didn't know where some of the other girls were either. It turns out that Professor Dumbledore told the other female students not to share rooms with me tonight because I was sick. So he decided that I should have my own area for a couple of days so that they, as they knew, I wouldn't risk getting anyone sick too. I guess he put the other girls in a different area of the castle for a couple of days. I didn't expect this at all. I don't dare to question him either. I can't believe how much Dumbledore is doing, but it means a lot. Even though I was not sick at all, I think he somehow knew that I just needed a room for myself for a couple of days. I truly just remembered something. It was late, which meant it was now my birthday. Yeah, I know that I almost forgot my birthday. But with everything that's been going on lately, I didn't even realize how much time flew by. Harry remembered my birthday as he said, getting into bed next to me. By the way, happy birthday, Miranda. He smiled as he kissed my forehead, and I stayed there beside him as he let me fall asleep next to him.